Hello. Hi everyone. I am doing a live on my personal page, as you may have noticed. I have done that before, but that was by mistake. This is intentional. Um, I have been exploring the work of Byron Katie again in the last while. Um, she is I guess, a coach. She's a spiritual teacher, um, and she has these questions that you can use to inquire into your thoughts, to examine some of your beliefs, especially the ones that are kind of running the show and creating a lot of suffering. And yeah, so I was exposed to her work a while ago, like a couple of years. I think I was in my late teens or early 20s, and it really resonated with me. That was from her book, Loving What Is. I'd love to know if you're joining live. Just say hi. I can see that people are watching, but I can't see who. So just say hi if you are joining live. So yeah, when I was, I think, late teens or early 20s, I was introduced to her work and found it really powerful, and immediately wanted to like test it out with everyone. In hindsight, I am sort of like, why didn't I become a coach earlier on again? Seems like all the signs were there. So anyway, so I was sort of re-exposed to her work recently through a book by Martha Beck. She's also amazing. Her book is called The Way of Integrity, and integrity just meaning like you're living a life that is in alignment with you, your desires, your values, not necessarily like a moral integrity, way of integrity. So okay, so I was re-exposed to Byron Katie's work through the book by Martha Beck, and I thought it's something that I'd love to share with everyone. And as many of you know, I have a private Facebook group specifically for healthcare professionals. So if you are a healthcare professional, you can join me there. It will be in my like cover photo of my Facebook profile. So I share live videos on different topics every week in there. But today I just thought, this information is relevant to all of us, and it is kind of universal work, and she's amazing. And I thought, why not just share it with everyone? And I'll probably post this video into my Facebook group as well. Okay, so essentially it's, as I say, like a method of inquiring into your thoughts, your beliefs, and particularly the ones that are causing you a lot of suffering. So I want you to think of a thought that you have that makes you suffer in some way. So maybe it makes you feel resentful, maybe it makes you feel angry, maybe it makes you feel sad, maybe it makes you feel anxious. These can be thoughts like, my husband doesn't listen to me, or for the healthcare professionals, a common one is patients don't take responsibility for their health, or in a relationship, he doesn't love me. This isn't going to work. Maybe that's a thought you have about your business, your career, your practice. Maybe it's a relationship and you think this isn't going to work, or this isn't working. Something like, my business or my practice is failing, but some sort of thought that makes you feel a lot of suffering. And I'm going to just use a random example of, he should be more grateful. That's a thought. And that thought creates suffering, right? Like if I'm in a situation that I feel like someone is being ungrateful and I feel they should be more grateful, and I have the thought, he should be more grateful, that is going to cause a certain reaction in me and a certain relationship with that person. So first, you're just choosing a thought, and I'd love to know, you can either DM me, or you can write it as a comment on this video if you feel comfortable to do that. But you're welcome this whole process as well. Just, you're welcome to share your answers with me, and anything that kind of was confusing or that you want a little bit more personal help with, because usually you will take someone's actual sentence and like help them with that. So the example I'm using might just not be that relevant to you, so you're welcome to reach out for any extra help or just clarity on this. But it really is powerful. It is a really great way when you are suffering, sorry, I don't know why my lights is like going light and dark every now and then. But it is a really powerful way when you are suffering, when you're experiencing a really difficult time, experiencing a really tough emotion, to use that as kind of a cue to do this work. And you're welcome to come back to this video and just do this again and again. It really is like a practice that you develop, and you start to, after a while, just do it without even thinking about it. Okay, so we're going to use the sentence that you have, the thought that you have that is causing that suffering. And the first two, I just want you to like think of that sentence and just sort of like meditate on these answers. So you don't want to just kind of answer it from like, this is my immediate response, or my, let me rather say, this is what I think should be the answer, or if I think about it as the answer. It's more like sit with that question and almost like see what naturally arises as an answer to these questions. And the first two are just yes and no questions. Yes or no questions. So we're not trying to say yes and, or yes but, or explain why it's a no, or whatever it is. We're just trying to say yes or no. Sit with the question for a little bit and answer yes or no. Okay, so I'm going to use that example. He should be more grateful. The first question is that true? Is it true? And you're just sitting with it. Okay. And you want to be having that situation in your mind, like really get into that situation, feel what it feels like to be in that situation. So let's say I'm imagining we're having a conversation, and he hasn't thanked me for what all the things that I did that day, and I'm going through all of that in my mind, and I have this thought, he should be more grateful, and then I'm just asking myself, is it true? Yes or no? So let's say I say yes, right? If it's no, you can skip the next question. But if you say yes, that feels true to me. Yeah, I think that's true. The second question is, can you absolutely know that it's true? Can you be absolutely sure that it's true? And again, just sit with it. And again, you're imagining that scenario. I'm imagining, I've been doing all these things today. I was rushing around. I was doing this task and then that task, and I was doing all these things for him. And I'm having that thought, like, he should be more grateful. Can I be absolutely sure that that's true? And again, yes or no. There's not a specific answer we're trying to get here. You're just trying to see what naturally arises when you're deeply imagining that scenario, and you're just asking that question. So first, is it true? Second, can you be absolutely sure that it's true? And then the third one is, how do you react, or what happens? What is your response when you believe that thought? So in my scenario, if I believe the thought that he should be more grateful, I feel resentful, I feel angry, I feel maybe, I suppose taken advantage of is not necessarily an emotion, but some sort of feeling of like resentment, anger, frustration, could even be sadness. So whatever sort of emotions come up, how do you react when you believe that thought that you wrote down or had in your mind? And part of what happens when I believe that thought is how I respond to the other person, right? So when I'm thinking he should be more grateful, and I'm feeling angry and I'm feeling frustrated and resentful, and I believe that thought, I am disconnecting from the person that I'm having this thought about, right? I'm not able to connect. I'm not able to love that person in that moment, because I'm in my head going through all of the stuff that he should have done and that I did that day that he should be grateful for. So there's a disconnect between me and the other person. when I believe this thought. So who or what would you be? What reaction happens when you believe that thought? Say hi if you're joining live. We're just picking a thought that creates some or other suffering, some thought that makes you feel anxious or sad or frustrated or angry, and we're taking it through a series of questions. So the first was, is it true? Just yes or no. Let the answer come up naturally. The second is, can you be absolutely sure that it's true? Again, yes or no, just letting that answer arise naturally. The third is, how do I react? What happens when I believe that thought? And my example of, he should be more grateful. I've done all these things. I've been rushing around. My day has been crazy. I've been doing all these things for him. He should be more grateful. I have certain emotions that are associated with that thought. And the way that I treat the person that I'm having these thoughts about is going to be not great. Disconnected. It's going to make me probably do passive aggressive things, like sigh a lot and walk around huffing and puffing. So how do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? And the fourth one is, the last question is, who or what would you be without that thought? Who or what would you be without that thought? So for me, the thought that again, you're going into that same scenario, you're in that situation, you've been running around all day, you've been doing all these things, you're expecting him to, be gushing with gratitude and to thank you for everything that you've done, and your thought is, or in this case, my thought is, he should be more grateful, right? In that exact same scenario, if I could let go of that thought, if I did not believe that to be true, what or who would I be? How would my reaction be different if I didn't believe that thought? Without that thought, without the thought of he should be more grateful, I could probably connect to him much more. Without that thought, I could probably talk to him about that. Without that thought, I could see what's actually happening for him in that moment and be truly present in that moment. And I would feel so much more free. I would not feel angry. I would not feel resentful. I would just feel either neutral or whatever other positive emotion would come in the place of me feeling those things. So who or what would you be in that same scenario? Really go back to it, imagine it. Who would you be in that scenario without the thought, he should be more grateful, or whatever your particular thought is, right? So those are the 4 questions. And that's what Byron Katie calls the work. And those are questions to help you inquire into your thoughts. And then in addition to the 4 questions, she uses what she calls turnarounds. And the turnarounds are essentially just taking the sentence, that you identified as, this is causing me suffering in some way. And you take that and you turn it around in different ways. So for example, in he should be more grateful, I can turn that around to, I should be more grateful. And again, you're just sitting with that. You're not forcing that thought onto yourself, that is now the truth. It's exploring these things. It's like, oh, does that feel true as well? Does it feel more true? Does it feel less true? How is it true? So if I had to think I should be more if I turn it around and I said I should be more grateful, then I can explore, how is that true? In what ways did I maybe not show much gratitude to him or to other people, maybe even to myself? Did I show gratitude to myself for what I did that day? Did I show him gratitude for what he did that day? So just exploring these thoughts, you're getting curious about them. How are they true? In what way are they true? Do they feel true? So let's say I turned it around to, I should be more grateful. Another way that I could turn that sentence around of, he should be more grateful, I could say he shouldn't be more grateful. So it's like finding different ways that you can adjust that sentence and inquiring how those feel, whether or not they feel true, how are they true. So he shouldn't be more grateful. And this is an interesting, right? Interesting one. Like if I just think of that scenario and I think he shouldn't be more grateful, how is that true? And then I might think, well, he behaved the way that he did. He said the things that he did. So me putting this extra layer of like, this is how he really is, this is what really is happening, this is a reality, and I'm putting an extra layer of, but it should have been different. He should be different. He should be doing something different. He should be saying something different, right? So is it really true that he should be more grateful? And how is it true that maybe he shouldn't be more grateful? Maybe he shouldn't be any different to how he is, because that's just how he is, right? I can't control and put shoulds on other people's behaviors. So finding some ways that maybe that's true, that he shouldn't be more grateful. Maybe another way that he shouldn't be more grateful is because I didn't really do, maybe this is in the scenario, right? Like maybe I didn't do those things with just out of the pure love and generosity of my heart. Maybe I was doing things to manipulate his behavior, to try and get a certain reaction out of him. So maybe he shouldn't be grateful for that, because it actually wasn't for him. So all these ways are just to explore. You might find more turnarounds, especially with like longer sentences. There are often more ways to turn it around and find opposites for that. And all of these, again, are just exploring. We're just getting curious about all these things. And we're sort of like, this thought is like very constricted, and we're slowly kind of looking at a little bit of a wider view. We're trying to like loosen that a little bit and just get curious about, okay, what else is there, right? Because that thought generally becomes our entire reality. It becomes all that we can see in that moment, and we don't have any other like options for responding, because it just is our reality. So when we are able to like open ourselves out a little bit and explore this a little bit, we have different options available to us, both in what is happening in our internal world, in terms of emotions, in terms of how much we're suffering, but then also things change in our ability to respond and relate to other people. So our connection with other people changes when we are able to access more realities, more options, more perspectives. So it really is a way to ease that suffering, and also to connect with people again. But again, with all of these, you're not trying to get a specific answer. You're not trying to prove it wrong. You're not trying to have any particular agenda when you're exploring this. It's just to open up a little bit and explore, and you'll be amazed at what you find when you're doing these questions. So I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you try this out, and again, if you need any help with that or any guidance, let me know as well. Awesome. Have a great afternoon. Bye.